To earn the pleasure of Allah, and Allah is full of kindness to his devotees, O ye who believe, enter into Islam wholeheartedly, and follow not the footsteps of the Satan, for he is to you an avowed enemy. If he backslide after the clear signs have come to you, then know that Allah is exalted in power wise. Will they wait until Allah comes to them in canopies of clouds of angels in his train? And the question is thus settled. But to Allah do all questions go back for decision. Ask the children of Israel how many clear signs we have sent to them. But if anyone after Allah's favor has come to him substitutes something else, Allah is strict in punishment. The life of this world is a learning to those who reject faith, and they scoff at those who believe. But the righteous will be above them on the day of resurrection, for Allah bestows his abundance without measure on whom he will. Mankind was one single nation, and Allah sent messengers of glad tidings and warnings, and with them he sent the book and truth, to judge between people in matters wherein they differed. But the people of the book, after the clear signs came to them, did not differ among themselves, except through selfish consumerity. Allah by his grace guided the believers to the truth concerning that wherein they differed, for Allah guides whom he will to a path that is straight. Or do ye think that ye shall enter the garden of bliss without such trials, as came to those who passed away before you? They encountered suffering and adversity, and were so shaken in spirits that even the messenger and those of faith who were with him cried, When will come the help of Allah? Verily the help of Allah is always near. They ask what they should spend in charity. Say, whatever wealth ye spend that is good is for the parents and kindred and orphans, and those in want for the wayfarers, and whatever ye do that is good, Allah knoweth it well. Fighting is prescribed upon you, and ye dislike it, but it is possible that ye dislike a thing which is good for you, that ye love a thing which is bad for you, but Allah knoweth and ye know not. They ask of thee concerning fighting in the prohibited month. Say, fighting therein is grave offense, but graver is that in the sight of Allah. To prevent access to the path of Allah, deny him. To prevent access to the sacred mosque, and drive out its members. Tumult and oppression are worse than slaughter, nor will they cease slicing you until they turn you back from your faith if they can. And if any of you turn back from their faith and die in unbelief, their works will bear no fruit in this life, and in the hereafter they will be companions of the fire, and will be abide therein. Those who believe and those who suffered exile and fought and struggled in the path of Allah, they have the hope of the mercy of Allah, and Allah is oft forgiving, most merciful. They ask thee concerning wine and gambling, saying that it is great sin, and some profit for men, but the sin is greater than the profit. They ask thee how much they are to spend. Say, what is beyond your needs, lest Allah make clear to you his signs, in order that you may consider their bearings on this life and on the hereafter. They ask of thee concerning orphans. Say, the best thing to do is that is for their good. If he makes their affairs with yours, they are your brethren. But Allah knows the man who means mischief from the man who means good, and if Allah had wished, he would have put you into difficulties. He is indeed exalted in power wise. Do not marry unbelieving women until they believe. A slave woman who believes is better than an unbelieving woman, even though she allure you, nor marry your girls to unbelievers until they believe. A man slave who believes is better than an unbeliever, even though he allure you. Unbelievers do but beckon you to the fire. But Allah beckons by his grace to the garden of wisdom, forgiveness, and makes his signs clear to mankind that they may receive admonition. They ask thee concerning women's courses. Say, they are a hurt and a pollution, so keep away from women in their courses, and do not approach them until they are clean. But when they have purified themselves, you may approach them, as ordained for you by Allah. For Allah loves those who turn to him constantly, and he loves those who keep themselves pure and clean. Your lives are as a tilth, until you so approach your tilth, when or how you will, but do some good act for your souls beforehand, and fear Allah, and know that ye are to meet him in the hereafter, and give these good tidings to those who believe, and make not Allah's name an excuse in your oaths against doing good, or acting rightly, or making peace between persons. For Allah is one who heareth and knoweth all things. Allah will not call you to account for thoughtlessness in your oaths, but the intention in your hearts, and he is oft forgiving, most forbearing. For those who take an oath for abstention from their wives, awaiting for 4 months is ordained. If then they return, Allah is oft forgiving, most merciful. But if in their intention is infirm for divorce, Allah heareth and knoweth all things. Divorced women shall wait concerning themselves for 3 monthly periods. It is not lawful for them to hide what Allah hath created in their womb. If they have faith in Allah in the last day, and their husbands have the better right to take them back in that period if they wish for reconciliation, and women shall have rights similar to the rights against them according to what is equitable, but men have a degree over them, and Allah is exalted in power wise. A divorce is only permissible twice, after that the parties should either wholly have any equitable terms or separate with kindness. It is not lawful for you men to take back any of your gifts from your wives, except when both parties fear they should be unable to keep the limits ordained by Allah. If you judges do indeed fear that they would be unable to keep the limits ordained by Allah, there is no blame on either of them if she gives something for freedom. These are the limits ordained by Allah, so do not transgress them. If their transgressors, the limits ordained by Allah, such persons wrong themselves as well as others. So if a husband divorces his wife irrevocably, he cannot after that remarry her until after she has married another husband and he has divorced her. In that case, there is no blame on either of them if they reunite, provided that they feel that they can keep the limits ordained by Allah. Such are the limits ordained by Allah, which he makes plain to those who knows when you are divorced women and they are about to fulfill the term of their life. Either take them back on equitable terms or set them free on equitable terms, but do not take them back to injure them or take undue advantage. If anyone does that, he wrongs his own soul. Do not treat Allah's signs as a jest, but only reverse Allah's favors on you, and the fact that he sent down to you the book of wisdom and instruction, and fear Allah, and know that Allah is well acquainted with all things. When you divorce women and they fulfill the terms of their ilat, do not prevent them from marrying their former husbands, if they mutually agree on equitable terms. Instruction is for all amongst you who believe in Allah, and the last name is the course for making for most virtue and purity amongst you, and Allah knows and you know not. The mothers shall give suck to their offspring for 2 whole years for him who desires to complete the term, but he shall bear the cost of their food and clothing on equitable terms. No soul shall have a burden laid on a greater than he can bear. No mother shall be treated unfairly on account of her child, nor father on account of his child. An heir shall be chargeable in the same way if they both decide on weaning by mutual consent. And after due consultation, there is no blame on them if he decide on the foster mother for his offspring. There is no blame on you, provided he pay the foster mother what you offer on equitable terms. But fear Allah, and know that Allah sees well what you do. If any of you die and leave widows behind, they shall leave concerning themselves 4 months and 10 days when they have fulfilled their term. There is no blame on you if they dispose of themselves in a just and reasonable manner, and Allah is well acquainted with what you do. There is no blame on you if you make an indirect offer of betrothal or hold it in your hearts. Allah knows that you cherish them in your hearts, but do not make a secret contact with them except that you speak to them in terms honorable, or resolve on a tie of marriage till the term is fulfilled, and know that Allah knoweth that in your hearts, and take heed of him. Know that Allah is oft forgiving, most forbearing. There is no blame on you if you divorce women before consummation or the fixation of their dower, but so on them a suitable